This chapter is the fourth one of David J. Linden's book, The Compass of Pleasure, and talks about sex behavior and the comparison between humans and animals regarding it. The aspects that we are going to explain are the following ones. The first one is sexual mating and caring behaviors of humans and animals. The main difference between them regarding sexual behavior is that our main purpose is not the reproductive one. In other words, we do not only have sex in the fertile period of woman, but whenever we want. Furthermore, 90% of mammalian species are highly promiscuous, both male and female, and have more than one sexual partner, while humans tend to be monogamous. Secondly, caring behavior is quite different as well, since male parents are unlikely to even recognize their offspring and therefore do not take care of them. However, male humans tend to contribute to the well-being of their children. Nevertheless, there are some species which do have some sexual and caring behaviors typical of humans. For example, dolphins are famous for engaging in recreational sex that is not timed to the ovulatory cycle, and emperor penguins have monogamous mating systems in which the male helps to provide for the offspring. Why do humans care so much about their children? The main reason is that human offspring have a longer childhood in comparison with the rest of the mammalian species. Therefore, parents spend more time looking after them since they are not independent enough to live by themselves. It is the need to provide care for human children with their huge, slowly maturing brains that explains our atypical mating system, with its unusual features of concealed ovulation, mostly recreational sex, monogamy within an ovarian cycle, and a paternal contribution to child rearing. Finally, there are many common but less broadly sanctioned expressions of human sexuality that are also seen in other species. Masturbation is a frequent practice among a number of mammalian species, and in fact, the book that is called Biological Exuberance, Animal Homosexuality and Natural Diversity, that was written by a biologist of the University of Wisconsin, states that homosexual behavior has been well documented in more than 500 species and is likely to be present in many more. This includes both male and female homosexual behavior, although the former has been more widely observed. In many species, heterosexual contact occurs only during female fertile phase, but homosexual behavior is common at other times. The second matter that we are going to talk about is the physiology of love. What about the emotional part of all this physical exercise? Is romantic love absolutely a cross-cultural universal phenomenon? Or is it only representative regarding a few cultures? According to the anthropologist Ellen Fisher, the answer is that it happens in the vast majority of societies. Which are the characteristics of a strong romantic love that correspond with brain function? That corresponds to powerful activation of the dopaminergic pleasure circuit, the DTA and its target, like the caudate nucleus. This pattern of activation is similar to responses to cocaine or heroin. Social psychologists who have interviewed people in long-term relationships find that the intense initial phase of romantic love typically lasts from 9 months to 2 years, to be replaced in most couples by a less intense form of loving companionship. An interesting data regarding romantic love is that most states in the United States require a 6 to 24 month delay before granting a divorce, but anyone can get married immediately.
The next issue to be covered is sexual arousal. Are the brain systems activated in romantic love the same as those that are driven by sexual arousal? In recent years, there has been a series of studies in which subjects have undergone brain scanning while viewing photos or videos with various types of sexual content. While measuring male genitals in response to sexual stimuli is quite obvious, measuring women's genitals is a more complex process. Women, both heterosexual and homosexual, feel aroused by a broader range of stimuli than men, and their genital arousal is triggered by a significantly broader range of stimuli than their reported feelings of arousal. The subjective responses and the brain scanning data in women correlate well, but the vaginal measure does not. Women have an automatic, reflexive vaginal response to a wide variety of sexual stimuli. An evolutionary explanation for this phenomenon is that reflexive vaginal lubrication was adapted for ancestral women because it reduced the chance of injury or infection in sexual contact, particularly if that sexual contact was rapid or non-consensual. Indeed, surveys of female rape victims have revealed that many women produce vaginal lubrication even during non-consensual sex, when they report that they were terrified and not aroused in the least. A woman's vaginal response does not reveal some truth about her feelings that contradicts her expressed ideas. The next issue is orgasms. Orgasm occurs in the brain, not the crotch. In fact, a small number of women and men can achieve orgasm through thought alone, without the involvement of any touching. This is not completely surprising, given the well-known phenomenon of orgasm occurring during dreaming sleep. In both sexes, orgasm involves an increase in blood pressure, a rising heart rate, involuntary muscle contraction, and an intense pleasurable sensation. During orgasm, logical evaluation and reasoning are suspended. The only significant sex difference in orgasm was found in a brainstem region called the periaqueductal gray matter, which was activated in men but not women. It's possible that there is a PAG-based endorphin component that is specific to male orgasmic pleasure. Brain stimulation studies have shown that there are discrete locations in the thalamus where stimulation with an electrode can induce orgasms that don't feel pleasurable. Non-pleasurable orgasms, however they are evoked, fail to activate the VTA dopamine neurons and their targets, the crucial components of the pleasure circuit. Aside from the intense short-lived pleasure of orgasm, there is also that warm post-orgasmic afterglow. This state is thought to be crucial for sexual pair bond formation. In part, it is mediated in both men and women by release of the hormone oxytocin from the pituitary gland, which is under control of the hypothalamus. Oxytocin releasing system also appears to be involved in more general aspects of social bonding, for example, in mothers' brains at birth and during breastfeeding.
The next topic to be covered is sex addiction. In a way, acceptance of the concept of sex addiction has some of the same problems as accepting the idea that overeating and obesity result from food addiction. The characteristics of sex addiction are continuity of behavior despite negative life consequences to the addict and others. Addict's necessity of acting like that in order to feel normal and face the stresses of life. Addicts' broken promises to themselves and others about quitting. Addicts' regrets about having engaged in the behavior. And finally, physical and psychological withdrawal symptoms if they can get the sex they need. Sex addicts are among the least likely to seek help, as well as unlikely to be treated compassionately. Why? Because there's something about the sexual behavior of other people that we tend to believe must be 100% volitional. And last but not least, the issue about monogamy versus polygamy. Why are some of us true to our long-term partners while others just can't resist the appeal of a new sexual encounter? We don't know the answer to this complex question yet, but in recent years some interesting ideas have emerged from the study of wild rodents. D2 receptor activation is necessary for the first stage of male partner preference, and these, along the vasopressin receptors, interact somehow in the ventral pallidum to trigger partner preference. Dopamine release from VTA neurons onto their targets in the nucleus accumbens is a key step in pleasure and reward. But what about the females? In monogamous female voles, unrestrained interaction with the male triggers a surge of oxytocin in the nucleus accumbens. When genetic tricks were used to increase the levels of oxytocin receptors in the nucleus accumbens of female prairie voles, they form accelerated partner preference. To sum up, it is tempting to speculate that those of us with cheating hearts might have differences in brain dopamine, vasopressin, or oxytocin signaling when compared to our more faithful friends who have adopted the prairie vole lifestyle. And to conclude our video, we would like to ask the author the following question. Do you think that there is going to be a time in which human sexual behavior will be similar to other animals and just have sex during the ovulatory cycle? Thank you very much.